Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat. Cannot miss it. You can find discount opportunities there for your next Elevating Traders purchase. And of course, you can chat with other traders, including myself, about different trading opportunities, different things you're looking at. So if you are interested, make sure you go check it out. Link in the chat and also in the description as well. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Karis, good morning. Hope you're well. Hope everyone is well rested. Have had a good weekend, of course. But yeah, some gaps in the market coming into the week. We'll go through the USD side of things first, as always. We'll start with the DXY because DXY is going to be a very key factor. We've started off the week pretty bearish, as you can see, strong move to the downside. And I want to start with the weekly chart because that time frame there will dictate my bias for the next few weeks, potentially a few months as well, depending on the result of what happens with this level, because we've had such a bullish USD. We've come back into such a significant high at 107 200, 107 500. Last week we just about got a close above. Nothing convincing, nothing that will give me confidence in that breakout. As I said in my weekly analysis, if you didn't check it out, make sure you go do so. I'm looking for a strong break above the high. That will be okay. Maybe the market is actually breaking out, and we can talk about potentially a push back to the highs up here. We don't have that yet. We could, by the end of this week, maybe prices trading above that. But what we do have is a very weak close with a bit of a wick to the upside. So indecisive. And this current weekly candle, although it's looking pretty bearish now, it could push a lot further, give us maybe a strong bearish engulfing candle by the end of the week. And by then, things are looking very bearish. And I would be expecting naturally a push to the downside, probably till the end of the year at least, because the market's still a bit stretched. It's going for a bit of a pullback. This is a ranging market. So if we are going to reject the high of the range, we potentially could see a push even to the low of the range, which will take us multiple weeks to the downside. So there is still a lot of downside potential, as with the upside potential. Just depends which way price wants to break. If it wants to break above and continue, great. We'll be looking at 113, 114. If price holds the level, we'll come straight back down. So I'm quite torn on a bias this week, very neutral, waiting for more information on the higher time frames. What I can say, though, on the lower time frames, there could be the start of maybe a big head and shoulder pattern. If this was the big fake out from last week, really strong move to the upside, all we did was come straight back down. If the market was to continue to sell off this week, maybe give us some type of correction later on, it could be some nice shorts to take advantage of that opportunity, like a lower high head, right shoulder. So you got your neckline here, left head, right shoulder, head, shoulder pattern. And of course, there could be some nice sells there in USD. And on the flip, buys on euro, buys on pound, likewise. So I can see the signs of potentially a reversal pattern, but I'm not going to judge that yet because the trend is still up, momentum's still up. We could easily form a higher low and take off. So that's why I'm pretty neutral this week on USD. I'm just waiting for a little bit more information before I do put forward a bias and start looking to trade those opportunities. But that's kind of what I'm expecting to see happen. But it's just definitely not there yet. So I have to stay patient. Going looking at Euro USD, of course, we've literally got the mirror image of this, probably just minus the gap in the opposite direction. So again, very powerful level of support. We just got a close below it with last week's candle. As we can see, nice candle close below. Nothing really confident, nothing really saying, okay, we're really breaking out this level. You could easily see the next following week, this week's candle close right back inside that range. And then things look bullish again because we're rejecting support very well. There's a good chance we'll probably see some upside for the next few weeks. So it's the same situation with Euro, just the inverse of it on the DXY. So again, possibly could be seeing the signs of a inverse head and shoulder pattern this time. So if you can get a strong push to the upside, bit of a correction at some point, there could be some nice buys following that. So again, you got your left shoulder, your head, possible right shoulder. And we could be looking at continuation as well. But again, a lot needs to happen. That would be a neckline. Could be some nice opportunities above that as well. If you don't look to take the right shoulder, you can always look for the break and retest of the neckline. The situation with Euro USD and the dollar pairs is that the market's still very stretched. In FX, we don't tend to go in one direction for too long. We tend to have healthy pullbacks, which we just haven't really seen with the USD pairs. So if we are going to reject this level, there is a lot of upside for us to pull back into, possibly back into this area here for a retest. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a push all the way up there. So there's a lot of upside potential, but just need a little bit more development in that price action because we've been so bearish. So jumping into longs at the moment is always a little bit difficult. And potentially price still might want to go fill that gap there for Euro. Might want to fill that gap before pushing up. That's a possibility. Not really an opportunity which I look to take myself. I don't really look to fill gaps, trade gaps. Never really big enough for me to get involved with. Intraday I can understand, but my stop loss is probably that size there. So nothing really I'm looking to take advantage of, but I do expect at some point that gap to be filled as well. Go over to pound USD. It's a similar situation as with Euro. Although I don't really like the longs on pound, I actually like the shorts on pound. We've had a really big sell-off to the downside. Of course, I do want to see a retracement first. I'm not looking to sell from current price, but we had a pretty strong close below that trend line last week. So I'm getting the impression that pound USD does have a lot more downside in store. And I do think we can come back and test that price swing low. Really big move to the upside, breaking through the trend line there. Naturally going to come back and test the prior low, which will be this low here at 1.24. So I'm looking at corrections for pound. The area I was looking to trade from last week was this area, and still an area which I do like to short from. It's probably highly unlikely we would see a retest of that level, at least this week. Price might see that retest, but I don't think we'll be up there in a week. Maybe a couple to get us back there, but I really like that level. Still really solid support. Broke through with no prior retest. A lot of momentum on the breakout as well, so it takes a lot of my boxes. It's just price is very, very far away from that. I did say on an intraday level, we do have some support here with similar characteristics. Nice level of support, broke through great momentum. We did have a retest this morning. So yeah, nice retest there. Really strong bearish close there at, is that 8 a.m.? Yeah, 8 a.m. Really strong bearish close there on the lower time frames. But it's just not a level I'll be interested in because the market's a bit too stretched for me. I want to see a bigger pullback there than this, what we're getting at the moment. Again, another gap there in pound USD. We could look to go and fill that gap possibly. So that could be a nice intraday trade to look at. But for myself, I need the bigger pullbacks. And that's where levels like this come in at 1.284, 285. So I'm waiting for those bigger pullbacks there for pound to short it because I still think there's room to the downside. I don't know what happened there. I still think there's room to the downside for pound USD. So I'm looking to see if I can take advantage of that, but I need a bigger pullback. The market's way too bearish for me to short and get involved with. But that is still the plan with pound USD, a push into 1.235. As for Aussie dollar, this one I'm still expecting a bit more downside as well. I'm looking for a push into 0.64. This level of daily support there as well. Not too far away. It looks like we're still respecting that support level, which we identified as resistance last week. So the breaking retest of this low. We've had a couple tests of this area. In fact, on the weekly analysis, I said this could be a nice place for a double top. We tested it once over here. I said we might see another push, which could be a great place for some entries. Stops above the high and looking for your continuations, back into the low, or you got the daily low there. Depends on how aggressive you want to be with the trade. But again, nice reaction with that gap straight into that level. So pretty much early hours of the morning, price was already rejecting that level pretty well, and we see some downside. So yeah, for Aussie dollar, I do expect price to keep falling. Like I said, I'm looking for a push into 0.64. In terms of entries, you want to be focusing your entries at that area since that's where price is respecting pretty well. We had that double top, so that would have been a nice entry, but that boat was kind of sailed a little bit unless we come back and retest it. We might have a deeper correction. Some areas up here we may come and test. So if the market doesn't hold this area, we might push up a little bit higher before falling. So maybe keep an eye out for that later in the week. But at the moment, yeah, I'm only bearish, only looking for a bit more downside for Aussie. And then once we hit 0.64, we can probably speak about the buys because Aussie dollar is another one of those markets which has been falling for quite a while. Haven't seen much retracement besides this bullish move, and that was just before the US election. So once we get to 0.64, we might see a bigger bounce. But at the moment in time, still expecting a bit more downside. Heading over to its partner in crime, New Zealand dollar. This one looked bearish. Looks like it's breaking through this level of support here. It hasn't held ish. It's not the most convincing break, but we are trading below it. But we do have this area just underneath, which is around 0.58, which I said this level doesn't hold, then we're expecting a bounce at that next area. We did see a minor bounce at that first level, but didn't really amount to much. So judging on how price is moving, still very corrective. I do think there's some upside in the tank there for New Zealand dollar, but it does look like we'll probably see that continuation back into the low at 0.58 first, and then we can speak about the buys later on. But yeah, this level is now acting as resistance, so we probably will see another down move and again another gap in the market, which price could probably look to go and fill, knock two birds of one stone out, fill the gap, test the level. Then we might see a bit of a relief because the USD pairs are still stretched. So I do expect a bit of a breather, even if they are still going to continue dropping. I'm looking at the higher time frames for some of these markets. We've got the COVID lows down here for New Zealand dollar. I wouldn't be too surprised if that's where price is actually going longer term, because we've had a pretty bearish market for quite a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we are coming back to these lows to go and take them out. I think that's probably what price is going to do, actually. So there might be a lot of downside left for NZD/USD, but I still think at least a correction at some point, maybe for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, and then we might see the bigger move, but at least a bounce is pretty likely. And then we can go from there. Take a look at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD had some nice rejections of that level of support last week, but it looks like it's actually gapped below it last time I checked, but it looks like it's trying to get back above. So a really nice level of support. Last week held a few times. We actually gapped below that. And now price is kind of trading underneath it. It's a little bit stuck, but it has kind of filled the gap already there for dollar CAD already this morning. Probably going to see the other USD pairs go and do the same. I still do expect upside for dollar CAD. So despite us breaking through that level, the key thing is we haven't really broken through structure yet, which is the key thing I'll look at in terms of direction. If market's still respecting structure, then it's not going to change my bias. If we break a level of support resistance, that won't change my bias. It just means that we're not looking to buy from there anymore, unless price was to get back above it and start to use it as support again. But at that point, we probably just got a lot of consolidation here. Equal highs, equal lows. For me, the next best play would be to wait for price to break above that. Actually, look that. Wait for price to break above the high of the range and get some opportunities above the high. So at that point, momentum is back on our sides, and we're probably going to smash into that high at that point. So that would be the next best opportunity. But yeah, I am still bullish on dollar CAD, looking for that high low. If price does see a big jump this week and we break structure, that's where things become very interesting. Because if I go back to the weekly chart, let's not forget we had that really strong close above this weekly resistance. So that is a key, very key sign that momentum is very strong with USD, and we've broken through such a significant level, which held us for quite a while. So if we are going to stay above this and continue, you're going to expect us to hold support and see some more upside. And if we close back below, that could be the start of a lot more downside, because what you have then is a massive fake out, and all of that liquidity will be used for a big drop to the downside. So either which way, there's a big move to be had with dollar CAD. At the moment, I'm still bullish, still above 1.3179, and if you can get back above that high, I think that's a nice buy opportunity. In terms of gold and silver, so yeah, I'm pretty sure gold and silver both look pretty bearish. Big strong candle to the downside. I still do think gold is likely to keep pushing high. We actually took up the highs there from last week. So I did say this week could be seeing a nice retest of this low here for a higher low. Big inverse head and shoulder pattern. You got your left head and then your right shoulder there, looking for that higher low in the continuation. Or you can wait for your neckline to break, which would be this level here, and look for some opportunities on the back of that. Depends how aggressive you want to be. But either which way, both really nice opportunities. We're just looking for that next higher low, and also pointing out the weekly candle. Really strong bullish engulfing last week there. We had a lot of momentum prior to that. And then last week, really strong push to the upside. So I do expect to see more upside, at least back to the high, and probably new all-time highs for gold pretty soon as well. So yeah, gold looking pretty bullish, and silver, I'm still holding that position. Not really the best start to the week, I must admit. Price looked very, very bearish this morning. Strong move to the downside. It's still above my entry, so I haven't been trailed out. My stop loss is still trade at my entry, so I'm giving the market maximum room to do its thing. I have secured some partials, so worst case scenario, still walk away with a small win if it does take me out for break even. But if you do see some upside and hopefully gold does keep pushing up, that should help silver push up as well. Kind of just being a bit of a consolidation for silver, really. In fact, if you're looking for some opportunities to get involved with silver, another double bottom here could be a nice opportunity for a buy. It's more range play at this moment in time. It's not really a healthy trend going on. So I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy. That's kind of my focus with this trade, is that I'm not really looking for a continuation back to the high. I'm more looking just for a push back into the high there to take my profits. But overall, silver still bullish bias, gold still bullish bias. I'm expecting them both to push up. It's just we're having a little bit of a bump in the road, and I think gold's just pulling back really. So that wouldn't alarm me too much. But yeah, naturally expecting more upside. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Still waiting for a bit more information before I solidify a bias. What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hope you well. Tony Gold, what's up? Knox, welcome. Jay Fenno, what's up? Gordon, welcome. Wishing you a great week as well. Hope you're doing good. Ahmed, okay, we'll take a look at the DXY. Naiko, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Ben, good morning. Hope you're well. CS, what's up? Got your coffee? Nah, I don't drink coffee, my man. I only have water over here. To be fair, I just don't like the taste of coffee. Yeah, don't worry. I'll take a look. Yeah, I'll go over DXY again. What's up, Will? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Yes, I did have a good weekend. Thank you for asking. I hope you had a good weekend as well. Well rested, ready to go again. But yeah, we'll take a look at the dollar. So yeah, my dollar bias is just kind of waiting for more answers, really, because the way I develop a bias is from the higher time frames, because I'm looking to swing trades. So I'm using primarily the weekly and the daily time frame for a bias. And because of where we're trading right now, it's such a significant area of resistance. And if we break through, it'll be a significant area of support. So because the market has been ranging, it's either going to reject this level and come back down and fill the range, or we're going to break above and talk about a breakout to that next high around 113,500. So either which way, there's a lot of opportunity for dollar if we're going to break up or break down. But the candle that just closed last week only just about pinched the high there. So I'm not confident of that candle being the breakout candle. I want to see at least another strong close to the upside. So if this week was to push up, close strongly like that, that'll be a very undisputed strong bullish candle. And at that point, I'll be pretty bullish, expecting corrections and continuation. So I'll be very bullish on USD at that point. At the moment, because we only just closed above, I wouldn't be too surprised to see USD close straight back below the next candle, so this week's candle. And at that point, that'll be more of a bearish signal to me, and I'll be expecting more downside. That's just price rejecting the high of the range. At that point, expecting to see price push down, especially because it's quite stretched as well. So I do expect us to go for a bit of a breather. So yeah, I'm kind of neutral really with USD. Is it going to break? Is it going to hold? It's not clear to see with the candlestick information. We've got so much on the weekly and the daily chart. Dropping on the 4 hour though, that strong push down is looking like we're printing a bit of a V-shaped pattern. So we had the impulse to the upside, impulse right back down, which is more of a reversal pattern. So to me, it does look like the 4 hours looking like we might see a bit of a reversal potentially. So you've got the left shoulder there, head over there, and possibly the right shoulder, this being a neckline. So there could be some nice opportunities to take USD down, but of course, a lot of development is needed before this pattern does arise. We could still very much form a higher low and still very much just push to the upside, create new highs. And like I said, maybe get that strong weekly candle close. So there's a lot of upside potential for USD. The trend is still very much up. Let's not forget about that. Momentum still to the upside, even despite the 4-hour bearish close there. But if we do start to see that right shoulder form, some more momentum creep into the market, there could be some really nice shorts to speak of, and really nice, long on some of the USD pairs as well. But yeah, I'm kind of just waiting for more development really before I stick with a bias with USD anyway. Dollar CAD shorts look the best if they're going to pull back. Dollar CAD, I'm still kind of waiting for as well, because dollar CAD, we had that really strong candle close on the weekly chart above the resistance here. So this massive level, which was holding as resistance, was doing such a good job. But now it's actually turned support really. So if price is going to climb back inside that level there for me for dollar CAD, then yeah, I really do like the shorts. If price is going to see a nice dump to the downside like that, and yeah, the shorts do look really good if we get back below this level. At the moment, we're kind of trading above the level, so it's technically acting as support. Whether it holds a support or not, it's a different question. But if I'm going to get short on dollar CAD, I need price to give me a candle close right back below the range. And then I can be looking for some pullbacks and continuations on the lower time frames. So if I drop to the 4-hour chart, and if we can break some structure as well, then yeah, there could be some really nice shorts, because the market's very stretched for dollar CAD as well. So if this one is going to sell off, and if this is just a big fake out, there's a lot of downside to take advantage of. Back to some of these areas, back to possibly this area here as well. So there is a lot of downside there for dollar CAD, but not quite confirmed yet in my books. But yeah, if USD is going to sell off, you're going to break structure, then dollar CAD is certainly a pair to definitely not overlook. I need price to be back below that weekly level if I'm going to look for any big swings. At the moment, still trading as support, so it's hard to be bearish at the moment. Dollar yen and euro CAD. Okay, we'll take a look, Ahmed. No problem. They have their favorite drink, I guess. So yeah, no problem, my man. Happy to help. So yeah, we'll take a look at dollar yen and euro CAD. So yeah, dollar yen still kind of trying to push up. Again, USD JPY is another one that's going to be looking at the DXY quite a lot, because of course DXY has been pretty bullish, hence we've been pushing up. Of course, yen's been a bit weak as well. But if you look at some of the other yen pairs, we've actually seen a bit of downside, but USD JPY hasn't seen that at all. So we're kind of keeping a close eye on the DXY here. But this trend line has been acting as support very, very well for dollar yen. 1, 2, 3, arguably 4, 5, testing again for number 6 there. So this trend line has acted as support very, very well. And I said in my weekly analysis, if we do go and break through this trend line, I think that will be the sign of, okay, we might start to see some bearish structure now for dollar yen, and probably some lower highs as well. So if you're looking to sell dollar yen, you're kind of waiting for that trend line to break some structure, of course, along the way. And there could be some nice shorts later this week or maybe next week. But there could be a lot of downside there in store for dollar yen. At the moment, we're still testing this level as support, and there could be some buys here. I'm not quite convinced, because the market's a bit tired now. We also formed a lower high there as well, which has been great. We did test it well, but then we just pushed up to form a lower high. Effectively, I want price to be making new highs and then pull back. So we are losing some of that bullish momentum. So that's why I'm not really so bullish and looking for this trend line to continue, because we're starting to see some signs of it failing and starting to see some signs of momentum slowing down to the upside as well. So I think if we can get that break of structure and that break of that trend line, the shorts would look really good, because we've been trading to the upside pretty well, but now it's becoming a bit corrective. So that might be a really nice breakout with a lot of momentum, and then some pullbacks afterwards, and some shorts could look like a really nice opportunity. So dollar yen, yes, the market's still trading to the upside. Yes, it's still holding on to some confluences favoring the buyers, but I'm not convinced that we're going to see a push back to the high here. We could be, of course. It's all probability at the end of the day. But I think we'll have a lot more luck if we wait for the sells, wait to see if price can break structure, and then look for some shorts underneath. Of course, USD will play a big role in that. So let's see what the DXY does. But that is the setup that would potentially interest me for dollar yen. I'm already trading CAD yen, so I'm not so interested about jumping into another yen pair. But if I was, that would be the setup I'll be eyeing up. Something like that to bring it back down. High over there, lower low somewhere, then looking for the next lower high for some shorts. So dollar yen downside looks good. In terms of euro CAD, that was very bearish last week. It might be a bit of a retracement week now with dollar CAD, euro CAD, sorry. You can see that very strong close there on the weekly chart, coming back to retest this low. I was just looking for price to come back to this low, but little did I know how bearish price was going to be last week. Really strong move for EuroCAD. We came back into the high of the range, failed to break through, and we came straight back down again. Now, there's kind of two major areas of support for EuroCAD. You've got the low down there, and you've got the kind of the low here as well, which is the area we're testing. So this is kind of like the low of the range. That's kind of like the high of the range, if you will. And now price is more or less in the middle. So if you're looking to sell EuroCAD, you want to wait for some corrections first. Preferably, I'll be looking around these areas for some shorts. So if price can come up to around 1.475, that will be an area which I can say, okay, we might start to see a lower high now and a big push down. That was the better place last week, retesting the low of the range there, but that ship has sailed. Now this is kind of the next best area I would say for a short. In terms of the longs, it's a little bit difficult because we just had that big gap to the upside. So there isn't really a nice area to put a stop loss unless you're going to put it underneath the low here, which is a nice place, but it just means your risk reward is going to be very skewed and a really big stop loss. And yeah, you're not gonna have a decent target or a decent reward unless you're looking for something crazy. So in terms of finding areas to buy from, because of that wick, things have become a little bit awkward unless we pull back down and create some support where you can put a stop loss underneath. If anything, if the shorts do arise, I think that's the better trade, really, to be honest, because that's where momentum lies. Big strong drop, pullback, another big strong drop, pullback. If we were to get another pullback, there's a good chance we'll probably see some more downside, especially the area I'm talking about, just between 0.618 and the 0.786. I think that's a comfortable level to be looking to sell from. But yeah, EuroCAD, if we are going to keep this momentum up, possibly we could be moving back to the low end of the range, which is around 1.43. I wouldn't bank on that. So if I did get short in EuroCAD, I wouldn't be looking to target here, but I would want to be trading in that direction, especially for that momentum, taking out this low here. For me, this is like a big sign of reversal, big push up, consolidation, big push down. Looking for correction and a continuation would be the plan there for EuroCAD. So yeah, pretty bearish in EuroCAD, a lot of momentum. 100% need to see a pullback though, because we had such a big drop last week, so the market is pretty stretched as well. So definitely want to see a pullback at least to the 1.75 area, at least back to this low here at least before we start looking to short. Then yeah, maybe later on in the week there could be some nice sells. Excuse me, some nice sells to take it back down again. But yeah, because of the conditions, because how price is moving, it is still a range bound market pretty much. So I would be very wary about where I'm trading it. I want to be making sure if I'm shorting, it's at a high. If I'm buying, it's at a low. I don't want to be too focused in the middle of things, because that's where a lot of indecision lies, and that's where it's very difficult to find consistency in terms of entering and exiting the market. But yeah, EuroCAD, a lot of momentum to the downside. I think we can see some pullbacks and some shorts. And in relation to EuroCAD as well, PoundCAD, the exact same situation. Really nice momentum to the downside, breaking structure as well with these higher lows. We broke through that trend line actually a couple of weeks ago, and since then the market has just been on a rampage to the downside. And for this one, I still think we can see a bit more downside. I'm looking for a push back into this low here. And in fact, I expect us to come back into this area. Very strong level on the weekly chart, around 1.73. I do think we can go and hit that level there as well. But first, 100% need to see a bit of a pullback there as well. So I would be looking at this area here for shorts. This is actually an area we were discussing last week. If price can break through this, a retest looks good. But yeah, the market's just been so bearish, it's been difficult to find entries at that area. But if Euro CAD is going to retrace, there's a good chance pound CAD could retrace as well. And if we can get ourselves back into that area, I think it's a really tidy place to be looking for a sell, another lower high, and yeah, more downside, because that's where all the momentum lies. If you look into ride momentum, EuroCAD, pound CAD are not bad pairs to look at. But the key thing is some decent pullbacks first. I mean, the market can keep falling, but it's already very stretched. It's very oversold. And I know it's difficult to gauge oversold markets because, we could be oversold for a while before the market does bounce. But when it does bounce, it will give some nice selling opportunities to continue that momentum at some point in time. So yeah, pound CAD, Euro CAD to me looks like really good to sell opportunities. CAD was pretty strong last week. I mean, I'm still currently selling CAD yen, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best yen pair to trade because of CAD being so strong. I mean, other yen pairs, Euro yen, pound yen, even CHF, JPY as well had a decent move down. CAD yen, when I did hop into the trade, had some nice momentum, more to do with yen being strong though, rather than CAD weakness. And then CAD was pretty strong for the rest of the week. I mean, we just had a look at Euro CAD and pound CAD. All those pairs were melting. But yeah, I'm in CAD yen still. It's been very sideways, I must admit. We've just been basically forming a range here. I am looking for price to eventually break the range to the downside, but the main analysis, the main idea here with CAD yen is that we are likely to form a lower high here, or at least respect resistance. So I'm expecting us to go through a bit of a sell-off and see some downside. That is the plan. Whether we get all the way to these lows down here or not, that's a different question. But overall, with CAD yen, we've had a few attempts to try and break through the high now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts on the weekly chart. Every time we've spiked into the level, pull back, left behind the wick. And we did that again last week as well. So yeah, I'm expecting this area to hold. And if it does hold, there's a lot of downside for us to move into. In terms of managing the trade, as I said last week, I'll look to secure some gains at this low here and remove risk. And then I'll look to see if I can trail beyond that point and seeing how far I can take it. And maybe hopefully find opportunities to add to the position. Because if we are going to get a sell back to 105 down there, it's definitely an opportunity which you want to add to. But yeah, CAD yen shorts and euro yen and silver longs are the two markets I'm currently trading at the moment. Both of them kind of sideways, funny enough, and they're not related markets, but both kind of just sideways, and I'm waiting for momentum. I mean, both of them, I still do expect them to continue, but we should have to wait and see. All I can do now is just manage the trade according to my plan and let the market do its thing, really. But yeah, very, very sideways stuff, I must say, with CAD yen. That's actually very true. That's a very unspoken situation. In terms of shorting a pair, then you see all the other pairs short as well, which are correlated to yours, but yours doesn't move because the currency you're trading it against is very strong or very weak or whatever. That's actually very, very true. That's actually very true. Yeah, I mean, again, in terms of technical analysis, at the end of the day, you're taking the trade that fits your plan the best in terms of the price action. Because in hindsight, you could take other shorts, like I could have shorted euro yen, I could have shorted pound yen, which did play out better, so it would be the better trade. But based on the rules and confidences you look at, it probably wasn't the better trade, or it shouldn't be the better trade, which is why you didn't take it. So yeah, it's a tricky situation, to be honest. I think there's probably room for improvement in terms of analyzing market strength better and knowing which pair to take, because that's a skill in itself, really. But then again, if I took pound yen and that stopped out, and then CAD yen, didn't stop me out, and I'd still be in the trade, then I'll be upset with myself for taking a trade that I shouldn't really be taking as well. But yeah, that is definitely a very annoying thing. Taking a market, shorting the yen pairs, and just seeing your yen pair not do much. But the funny thing is, the market moves in stages. So that's the second time I've done that. The market moves in stages. So sometimes you'll see, some yen pairs move down aggressively. So like euro yen and pound yen, which did that last week a lot. And then maybe the following week, you'll see CAD yen, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen all catch up and have some big moves down as well. Then maybe Swiss yen makes a move later on. Because the yen pairs, they do the same thing. They do the same thing. If they're going to go down, they go down together 99% of the time, just at different speeds. Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm shorting the one that probably has moved the least, I would say. Yeah, even though Aussie yen's been consolidating, had a bit of a. It's probably similar to CAD yen, really. Anyway, we'll go through the yen pairs because they are looking interesting. A lot of gaps in the market, I must admit, as well. A lot of gaps this week. USD pairs, yen pairs gapped as well. But yeah, in terms of what I'm looking for the yen pairs, I'm very much focused on CAD yen, and if I get opportunities to add to the trade, that's really where I want to focus. So I'm not really looking to jump into any other yen pair until I'm out of CAD yen. But nonetheless, there are some really nice opportunities across the board with them if we are going to see some sells. I like Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, although they've been ranging, and I've been not speaking too highly of the price action, but because they've been ranging so well, as we all know, if a market ranges for a very long time, eventually you're going to see a breakout. And typically, the longer the range, the bigger the range, the bigger the breakout. So I'm expecting to see some really big moves for both Aussie and New Zealand yen. Despite us being in these ranges, when they do break out, I think there'll be some really interesting moves in the future. Yeah, true. That is true, Ben. That's true. CAD has been strong for a while. New Zealand's a little bit strong, but not as strong as CAD. Of course, all we have to do is check New Zealand CAD, and I'm pretty sure New Zealand CAD had a bit of a move to the downside last week. Yeah, it did fall. So yeah, CAD was definitely one of the strongest markets, to be honest. And then watch New Zealand yen go down. So yeah, it depends on the situation, because with the market structure, because I'll go to New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen was pretty much just ranging last week, but it respected the high of the range, and then it had a really nice sell. So this was the range price was trading in. This was the short last week, so price came back to the high of the range, respected it, really nice sell. So if you're looking for a bit of range play, this is not a bad trade, but this is not really a setup, at least with my current plan that I look for. If I'm looking for mean reversion, then this could be a really nice setup, back at resistance, price respect in multiple occasions. This is a nice place to short from, playing the high of a range, or shorting or buying the low. With CAD yen, we had an ascending channel, so that was the pattern I was playing. The market is ascending to the upside, and typically with these ascending channels, the market does eventually break to the downside. We double topped at the high there, so this is textbook ascending channel pattern stuff, which is a pattern which I look to trade, whether I'm calling the top there or waiting for the channel to break to the downside and then trying to find a lower high afterwards. These patterns that I look for quite a lot in the markets. Ranges, I don't really look to trade, to be honest. So with New Zealand yen, the fact that CAD was quite strong was, of course, a little bit of a negative, but the price action made it a positive. If New Zealand yen was ascending to the upside as well, and we had a nice, bullish channel going on here, and price pushed up, then yeah, New Zealand yen would have been equally just as good as a setup as CAD yen, but it wasn't at the end of the day. But yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point to notice because, if you could effectively pick the best currency to trade the bias, then you've got a better setup. I shorted CAD against yen. It was better to short euro or pound. So far, I must mention it so far as well, because we could still see massive drops across the board, and then you're not going to really complain. By the end of the week, we could see a really bearish week on all the yen pairs. And then am I going to complain that I should have shorted pound yen? No, not really, because I still got the move I was looking for. It's sort of like looking across the board, seeing if the grass is greener. It might be greener, it might not be greener. At the end of the day, you're taking a good trade. If it is a good trade, then you can't be too angry. But yeah, in terms of New Zealand yen, it is ranging similar to Aussie yen, as I just mentioned, and I like them both. This was the bonus pair I mentioned on my weekly analysis. I said if this eventually does break to the downside, there could be some really nice shorts on the way back down to the low here. As we can see, pretty smooth on the way up there, really nice momentum. So if it does break to the downside, I'm expecting something similar, if not even better, really, because now we're coming back from a nice range, so naturally there's going to be momentum. And if we're going to move up in a similar fashion like we did there, probably going to see a nice clean move down. It's just, kind of hoping to get the retest really is the only situation. Sometimes we break and we just fly. So hopefully there is that opportunity for a retest. And yeah, some shorts back down into 86.5, I think looks really, really good. So very bearish on New Zealand yen, expecting a big breakout soon. I'll go through the news for the week, so I need to check that out. In terms of Aussie yen, as we just mentioned, looking for the same break as well, break of the consolidation. In terms of targets, similar target 2, back into the low here. So again, that's around 94.5. And again, pretty clean move on the way up. Probably see something smooth on the way back down. In fact, Aussie looks decent as well, because the distance between the range to that level there is quite a lot as well. So it could be a really nice swing trade. In terms of euro yen and pound yen, so these were the more bearish pairs last week for the yen pairs. We actually created some nice bearish structures, some lower highs and some really big drops. So again, going into next week as well, looking for this week as well, looking for more downside. I have talked about this area here for some shorts. We'll see what type of price action we can get. So far, the market hasn't really done much. We've come into the level, a few wicks there, so it's starting to respect it, but needs some more momentum there. If we do push a little bit higher, I would be looking at this low here. Effectively, as long as we don't take up this high here for euro yen, I would remain bearish. And that's our bearish structure, high over there, second, third, fourth. As long as price doesn't take out 164.750, that would keep me bearish bias for euro yen. And these two be my interested levels to short from, 162 or 163.300. And then of course back to lows, essentially expect us to hit this area here. If we are going to really sell off based on the higher time frames, that's probably where the market's going to end up at, right back at the low. Still doing a pretty good job at respecting this resistance here. Left head, right shoulder, looks pretty good to me. So yeah, euro yen more downside, expecting that. Lower highs, these are the areas I'm looking for. As I mentioned before, I'm not really interested to trade any other yen pair apart from CAD yen, so not really anything I'm looking at. But if I was, I like the opportunity. Pound yen I like as well. Probably a little bit more than euro yen, to be honest. I like the retest of this structure here. Looking for that next lower high. We had one over there. Actually, the first one there, second, third, fourth. Could be seeing a fifth one, retesting that low. And then again, expecting a lot more downside. At least looking for a push back into this low here, which is around 190, which I think is a nice target there. Probably looking at a very healthy risk reward if you can swing it back to those lows. So yeah, overall for the yen pairs, still expecting a lot more downside for these guys. Very, very bearish across the board on them. It's just about timing, really. Knox, okay, in CHF JPY, we'll take a look at that one in a moment. Okay, same idea for New Zealand yen and Aussie yen. Yeah, there'll be some really nice moves when we break out. And that's the key thing about ranges. You know, you don't have to be such a fan of trading them. But when they do break out, if you are looking for momentum, if you are looking to trade trends, you know, ranges are great catalysts for trends and for momentum as well. So, yeah, looking at New Zealand yen and Aussie yen, especially with that big drop in July, kind of like the instigator of everything, because sometimes the range is very 50-50, don't know which way it's going to go, but yeah, I'm more confident that we're going to break to the downside than break to the upside, especially because of that momentum in July. This to me looks like the correction of that, failing at the highs a lot. I think there's a very high chance we do just break to the downside and push back to the lows. So yeah, if we can break out, I think the shorts will be looking really good. Same thing for New Zealand yen as well. Let's go take a look at CHF JPY. So you said you're currently okay. You're in CHF JPY. You long or short? Okay, so you're long 172.842. 172.842. That's around there ish. And your take profit 176.156. So I'd imagine the high there pretty much. Yeah, okay. So looking for a pretty big move there on CHF JPY. I wonder what the risk reward is for that position. I have to say, in terms of the entry, I'm a big fan of the entry where you're trading from, because this is where all the momentum came from a couple of weeks ago, and we had this big push to the upside. This is where we stalled and we had that big push. Looks like we're also retesting that high there as well. Gave us a really strong move to the downside. Now price has gone and broken through that. So in terms of the location of the entry, I think it's in a really nice area. If we are going to bounce with CHF JPY, this is where I'll expect the bounce to be from this level, then expecting a continuation higher up. I'm pretty bearish on CHF JPY, so I'm looking for more downside. It hasn't broken structure yet, but I do anticipate we will. I would say in terms of managing the trade, keep an eye on some of these areas here, 142, 200. If I drop to the hourly chart, you know, this is an area where I think securing some profits, because the move you're looking for is pretty big. If I do measure it from the low to the high, it's about 330 pips there. So it is a pretty nice swing trade you're looking for. I think as we do come back to some of these areas, you want to think about locking in some gains on the way up. You know, trading stops or partials, up to you. But yeah, in terms of the location for the buy, I think it makes a lot of sense there. It makes a lot of sense. Really nice support and resistance, and coming back to a nice area of demand as well. I did see a lot of momentum. So price is going to bounce. That is the area I expect it to bounce from. I'm pretty bearish on the yen pair, so I'm not really interested in any longs. But it's definitely not a bad buy opportunity there, coming back into 172, 173. I would be a bit careful as we come into those areas, because if we are going to sell off, that would be the area I expect us to do that. That would be the area I expect us to sell off from. So that's the area I would say maybe look to manage that trade. But of course, it's up to you. And I'm sure you got a method of how you're going to manage that position. But I really do like the location for the entry there. When did you enter that? Was that from last week or right at the start of this week? Because that's how we had a gap to the downside into that area, then a big bounce from there. What's up, Elder? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. Welcome. So yeah, with the yen pairs, I'm pretty bearish, apart from dollar yen and Swiss yen, because they're not haven't really broken key structure yet. Those are the ones which I'm kind of waiting for more from them before I would have a bearish buy. So dollar yen, I need price to break structure to the downside there first, and then I can start to consider some shorts. And Swiss yen as well would be nice if we can take out the area demand on the left which at the moment we're still respecting. If we can take out that low there, then I'll be expecting a lot more downside for the yen pairs, but at the moment, not quite yet. Let me have a quick look at the JPY basket, see what that is doing. Okay, so we're just respecting the higher there, the range. So if we are going to get a break to the upside for CHF, for the JPY basket, sorry, then that could be the catalyst to get the breakout on Aussie yen, the breakout on New Zealand yen. Hopefully my trade on CAD yen can start to play out as well. And we start to see some more weakness, more strength for the yen pairs, but weakness overall. So this is going to be a very critical level of resistance here, 63.33, I'll call it. If we can get close over there on the daily chart, probably going to start to see a bit of a breakout. But at the same time, price is really finding it hard to break through. You might even see another push back down to the low of the range before coming back up again. So that's a possibility. But the key move I'm looking for is definitely the break to the upside. And this area here will be the first major target, 6,500. Maybe we sell off from there. Maybe we break through. We'll make the judge when we get there. We'll make the call when we get there. But yeah, that is the next move I'm expecting to happen. Just need to see if we can clear that resistance first. And how's the index looking? Okay, the index had a bit of a move to the upside. I mean, explains it, to be honest, because the yen pairs had a bit of a push. But overall, the market is respecting that area very well. Now we'll come back into that supply area as well. What are we going to do now? Are we going to respect it, or are we going to break through? At the moment, struggling to break through. But yeah, not quite convinced yet. How did the weekly candle close? Okay, closed a little bit bullish. The key thing is we're still firing wicks into that area. So as long as we don't break through that, I think I'll keep that bearish bias there with the yen pairs and see if we can break that low. But yeah, overall, the market is a little bit flat, especially for CAD yen though. But I'm hoping a bit of CAD weakness this week. If oil can take a bit of a tumble, that would be very, very nice. But it looks like it's slowly rising. It's going to probably push into 72, then we'll go from there. But to be honest, yen is the main focus, not really even CAD. Even though I'm shorting CAD yen, yen's the main pair I'm looking at. Let me go quickly take a look at the news for the week. Is it the first Friday of the month, this Friday? I don't think it is. Let me just double check. No, first Friday of the month will be next Friday, but it is the first on Sunday. Anyway, so in terms of the news for the week, today, not much today really. I'm only looking at the major impact news. Tuesday, retail home sales for USD at 3 o'clock UK time. FOMC minutes, 7 o'clock UK time. That could be interesting. And then Wednesday, early hours of the morning, New Zealand interest rate decision. Rates are expected to drop. Anyone looking to trade NZD, keep an eye on that. That is Wednesday, 1 a.m., so early hours of the morning. And then in the afternoon, we got goods, durable goods orders for USD. That is at 1:30. Not the biggest news event, but could cause some movement. GDP at 1:30 as well. Okay, that's something to keep an eye out for. And then Thursday, not much on Thursday actually. And Friday, unemployment from Germany, CPI for Euro, that could be interesting. GDP for CAD, nothing really for USD though. So yeah, not the biggest week again this week. FOMC minutes could be interesting, but not really the biggest event. It's not like it's the actual FOMC decision. So the minutes might move the market a bit, but never as much as the actual event. Interest rate for New Zealand. Now that could be a big mover for New Zealand. So if you are looking to trade that currency pair, that currency, do look out for that. And then we've got CPI for Euro, GDP for USD. That could move the market a bit for USD. So I'll probably say keep an eye on Wednesday. Wednesday might be a bit of an interesting day. Interest rates, CPI, GDP for USD. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on those events. What's up, Chris? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Happy New Week to you. Hope you had a blessed weekend. Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. Hope you did as well. Rested, ready to go again. But yeah, it's been an interesting start to the week of all the gaps, I must admit. But to be fair, it's a bit of a dodgy time, so I can see why. And that's kind of why I expect gold to keep pushing up as well. Especially, I mean, technically, because we broke structure. We broke structure to the upside, which completely invalidates my bearish bias I had last week, which was the impulse correction impulse. I was looking for another correction, for another impulse, but the market just kept pushing higher and was altogether very, very aggressive. So it didn't give me any opportunity to short. Therefore, I stayed at the markets and stayed long on silver, and still am long on silver at the moment. And since we did break structure, that has convinced me to switch my bias to bullish again, especially with that strong bullish engulfing candle on the weekly chart. The downside we're seeing right now, I'm expecting that to be a retracement for the market to go higher. And we've kind of got that inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head and possible right shoulder. That could take us to the upside, or you can be a bit more patient, wait to see us get that higher low, that break of the neckline, then look for opportunities afterwards. That could be a nice opportunity there as well. The only thing about waiting for the more conservative trade opportunity, the break and retest of the neckline, sometimes it doesn't always happen or happen to the way you want it to happen. Sometimes price will just break through and keep going. You don't get that retest, so you miss out on the trade. And of course, you'll be a lot more close to the target as well. So the risk reward won't be as great depending on your entry. But that does look like a nice opportunity either which way. So yeah, that's really what I'm looking for gold this week. But then again, I'm not really looking to trade gold either because I've got that position on silver. So because they're so positively correlated, no need for me to try and also get a long entry on gold when it should do the same thing as silver, although it hasn't really been doing that so well, I must admit. Silver has been pretty flat, even though gold has been soaring to the upside, so that's been a bit annoying. But hopefully silver can pick itself up and we can see some upside at some point. But yeah, I'm not really too bothered really because, like I said, I have secure partials, stopless at break even. So as far as I'm concerned, the trade is already done with. If it does go and hit my targets, great. If it doesn't, always going to move on to the next one. CAD-Yen, though, haven't managed that one at all, so the risk is still on. So yeah, I still need this one to see if it can have that big drop. At the moment, it's taking its sweet time. That is good to hear, Chris. Yeah, I think he's busy because he started he opened a shop. He opened a shop, so he said he's been busy sorting things out there. And I can imagine in terms of setting up an actual shop, because it's very, very different to set up an online business shop. There's a lot more moving parts. So I think he's been quite busy with that. But yeah, he was on last week or the week. Yeah, I think he came on last week to say hi. But yeah, he's been pretty busy with his shop, I'm pretty sure. The 4 hour consolidating. So yeah, in terms of my watch list, so of course CAD-Yen, silver, 2 markets I'm trading. Outside of that, not much this week to be honest, because USD I don't really have necessarily a bias on the dollar, and that's kind of really one of the central parts when I'm trading USD is having a bias on the USD. So I know exactly what I'm doing. Even if I'm going to go against the bias, I know that I'm taking advantage of a short-term trade for potentially a longer-term trade. So with USD just being in limbo a little bit, it's not clear to me if price is breaking through this or not really, because we did technically close above, but it's not confident close. It's not big enough for me to say, okay, yeah, we're breaking out. Then we look for the pullbacks and continuations. I wouldn't be too surprised to see this week's candle close straight back below and give us a nice bearish engulfing candle. Then at that point, I'm going to be very bearish the following week. So I don't quite have a clear-cut bias for USD. As a result, I'm not so eager to be trading the USD pairs. Apart from pound USD, if it does pull back, I really do like pound USD on the short side of things, because you had such a exceptional drop the past few weeks. We've broken through this ascending trend line. So even with USD not being so clear cut, I do like the shorts for pound USD, but then again, they're very far away. So I don't expect to actually get the short for pound USD that I'm looking for, which is the retest of 1.285 in the shorts. I did say this could be a nice area to short, and I think it is, especially with the gap now, because now we've got another reason to potentially see some downside to go and fill the gap. So I think it's a nice short, but it's definitely more intraday. It's more intraday, and it's not really a setup I'm looking at for myself in terms of how I trade. So yeah, it's just a bit too shallow of a pullback. I need the market to be a bit more. I need the market to have a deeper correction, given how bearish we were for the past few weeks now. So yeah, pound USD, if it does pull back to 1.285, 100%, I'll be looking to short. Of course, I'll wait for confirmations, but that would be a setup I'll be very interested in. Apart from pound USD shorts, yeah, I'm kind of just waiting for the USD pairs to clear up. And when I mean USD pairs, I mean more so the DXY. So I know my bias for dollar. Dollar CHF, in fairness, has been pretty bullish, moving to the upside pretty well. But where to? It's been difficult to maneuver this one. We've got the prior lower high in the market over there. Create that nice bearish swing back to the low. Had a really deep pullback to come retest the prior high. Another big push to the downside. All we did was just respect the low, then create new lows. So now the market's forming a bit of a big range now. We've got equal highs, equal lows here. So now we're kind of just flapping in the middle of nowhere. Is price going to push back to the high of the range? Possibly. If so, there could be some nice shorts there again. But yeah, at the moment, we're kind of trading in the middle of nowhere. No real significance in the level we're trading at. So as a result, I don't really see this as an opportunity to get too excited about, or plot any opportunities there for dollar CHF, another pair, which I'm just not looking at. So pound USD, yes, but do get that bigger pullback, great. Just probably won't see it happen in 1 week, unless USD has a really big sell-off. What's up, Kwame? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What is up? What is up? Hope you had a good weekend. Okay, Ben, we'll take a look at oil and the DAX, no problem. The ELF dollar CAD, sure thing. We'll take a look at pound CHF. We'll have a look-see as well, no problem. All right, Will, take care, my man. Have a good one. Adios. Right back at you. Don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate it. If you guys are joining the stream, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out the channel. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying the content, finding it useful, educational, entertaining, you name it. If you're enjoying it, please be sure to smash the like and subscribe button, and of course hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream. It does really help out. But yeah, we'll go take a look at oil. So oil, I still like that 72 level, which is just above us still, 72.28. I still think this is a really nice place to short from. Really nice resistance there, support there as well, resistance. And there's a good chance we'll put it as resistance again. The only thing, though, is I don't like to keep shorting from the same level. From my experience, the first or second test of a level normally give you the best reactions. if the market keeps coming back to the same area, be prepared for some type of fake out, some type of liquidity grab before shorting. So I wouldn't want to short this outright. Maybe if the market can have a really big wick that spikes through the high here as well. So let's say we slowly push up, maybe a big wick spikes through, then that could be a nice short opportunity because something fresh has happened. We grab some new fresh highs. We've taken out liquidity. Now price might see a really nice reaction to it. Just the normal reaction wouldn't be enough to get me excited about that trade, because the thinking is if we do have a solid level in the market, we shouldn't keep coming back there. If it's solid enough level, it should turn price away, consistently. If it keeps coming back, it's because the buyers are keep persisting, trying to break through that same level. So although it has proven to act as solid resistance, and I think it can definitely do that again, I do want to see some type of fake out, some type of strong rejection that tells me, okay, we can have that sell off again, and we're likely to see some downside. But in terms of location, it's a great place to short. I just want to see a more convincing reaction next time. Maybe a big wick piercing the highs, something like that would be a really nice short opportunity. In terms of targets, back to low of the range, because that's all we've been doing really with oil. Higher time frames, there's a slow decline to price with all these lower highs. You got the one over there, second over there, third, arguably fourth, fifth. Maybe we might see another spike and see number 6 there. But overall, there is a slow descent to price, and I do think eventually we probably will get the break to the downside. But not going to look for that just yet. But in terms of a nice place to short, I think that's a solid place to look for another retest, and expect some more downside, and probably swing right back to that zone there as well. But the reaction has to be a quality there, because this is now the third time, well, arguably fourth if you can count that one, but since we've had the breakdown, it's the third time price is coming there again. So I want to see a strong reaction. And in terms of the DAX, what's cooking with the DAX? Okay, wow, look at that. DAX is looking very bullish. Really nice move. Ben, weren't you trading the DAX last week? I'm pretty sure you had a trade in the DAX. Or was it someone else? Anyway, really nice move to the upside. We have broken through the high. I think it's actually in a nice place to short now, the DAX, to be honest. Looking at the high, second, third, fourth, just another big wick there as well. This to me looks like a really nice place to short, and probably expect another lower high for a push down. I would be a bit careful because it's a bit counter trend, the shorts. If you do zoom to the higher time frames, the market is still very bullish. So even though, yes, we're pretty consistent with those lower highs, always be a bit careful in bullish market shorting, especially indices, because indices, we just keep pushing higher. If it's FX, you can get away with it a lot more. Indexes, not as much, because we just tend to trend to the upside. But I think it's a nice short. I wouldn't look to shoot for the stars though, in terms of a swing all the way back to the low. Effectively, that could happen, but I feel like you leave yourself quite exposed. If you can take some partial on the way, manage risk, then it could end up being a nice trade. So like, lock in some gains there, lock in some gains there, then maybe leave a little bit to trickle to the end. In terms of where we're shorting, it looks like we have filled that gap to the upside, and now we're probably using that as resistance now for a short. So I do like the sells if a dollar had really aggressive wicks there. Overall, in a nice place where we're likely to form a lower high as well. So I think this is a really nice place for a short. It's just, I would be careful along the way. 19,260, I think it's a smart place to lock in some gains. 19,100 as well. And on the flip side, if price does go and give us a strong break of this, then yeah, we're probably going to push back to the highs at this point, and continue the trend. But this is more bearish territory. So if you're not already long, not the best time to be buying. If you're looking to short, it's a good time to be looking to sell. Just be a bit careful, since we are shorting an index here, which is something people avoid to do, because all we do is trend higher. But it's a good location. Probably can get a nice push down. But I'll be actively managing that position, because if we do break the trend line, we're probably going to push back to the highs and see some new highs as well. Okay, yeah, it was you. You long DAX Thursday. Nice. Hit take profit. Oh, on the gap. That's always nice as well. When you hit take profit on a gap, because if it gaps above your take profit, the price it will fill your take profit in will be higher than your original one. So you make a little more profit. So who can complain with that? Always nice to. On the flip side, it's a bit of a nightmare when it does it with a stop loss, because if it gaps below your stop loss, the next available price will be lower than where you put your stop loss, so you lose a little bit more money. So that's never ideal. But when it gaps above your take profit, it's just a wonderful thing to experience, really. Exactly, nice little bonus, yeah. It's one of those little wins in trading. You know, it's not necessarily skill; it's just a bit of luck with the markets there. But yeah, I think it's a nice place to short, though. I think it's a nice place to short. Overall, I would still be bullish on the DAX, so yeah, I do expect us to eventually get back to highs, as I do with most of the indices at the moment. But short-term trades, short-term sells do look good. Anyway, I'll go through dollar CAD and pound CHF. So yeah, as I mentioned with dollar CAD, another USD pair, which again, I'm just kind of waiting for more information from USD. I think if dollar CAD is just going to keep pushing to the upside, because if I quickly go back to the weekly time frame, dollar CAD has had a pretty impressive break of this level of resistance. If I kind of just remove my drawings there, because it's a little bit messy. So you can see this resistance level here at the resistance very, very well. A couple of weeks ago, we had a really strong close above the level. So if this is price breaking out, retesting now at the moment, and possibly getting ready to continue, there could be a lot of upside in store for us. You know, for USD CAD, we've got the high over there. You know, possibly talk about the high over there as well, but that's a story for another day because we're very, very far away from that. But there could be a lot more upside back to 1.44 if this is just going to be a retest. So if price is going to keep pushing and respecting those higher time frame levels, I think buys look good. I think buys look really good. So at the moment, we were discussing this level last week. Price did gap below it, so that's a little bit annoying there. But it looks like price is trying to get back above. I think in terms of a nice buy opportunity, if price can break above the high here, because that's where we were finding a lot of resistance last week. If you can break 1.401, I think the buys on the flip side of that look really good, back to the highs and possibly a lot further. Because as we said, if we are getting the retest of that weekly level, the market's got a lot of room to the upside to move into. So if we can clear the high here at 1.4, retest that on the lower time frames, could be some nice buys back into the high there at 1.409 and maybe beyond that as well. So yeah, dollar CAD, I would still be bullish on. Market structure still bullish, still seeing consistent higher highs and higher lows. So if this is going to be another higher low for us, I believe you probably just about wicked into the 0.618 now. Have we? Yeah, probably to the pip there, just about tapped it. So now potentially price might be on a mission to push up. And yeah, if we can break through 1.401, we'll be expecting a push back to the highs there for dollar CAD. Okay, so we'll chat about pound CHF for Kwame. So yeah, pound Swiss. Yeah, this is a textbook range if I've ever seen one. Really nice lows down here. Price is doing a pretty good job at respecting it, and not the best highs, but you got the highs of the range there as well. So essentially, £4 CHF. I do like the prospect of a big break to the downside because, again, we had that big drop in July, and I'm looking at this as possibly the retracement of that before possibly a continuation. So if that is going to be the move, then I do want price to see the break to the downside of the low, and then I'll be looking at my pullbacks for shorts and possibly shorts all the way back into the low there at 1.07900. So it's a similar opportunity to Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, which we just discussed, which is we've got a ranging market here, which if it does break to the downside in favor of that momentum in July, we might just see the continuation of that and a really big drop to the downside. So if we can see that break of structure, I think the retest of that low look really, really good. At the moment, I wouldn't really look to touch pound CHF because it's inside the range. As I said multiple times, during my streams, is that there's nothing wrong trading ranges. Ranges can give some really nice opportunities, especially looking at a lot of mean reversion opportunities. Buy low, sell high. You can get some really nice trade in ranging markets. But one thing you do want to avoid if you're trading ranging markets is don't trade in the middle. In this areas where it's going to be a lot of speculation, very indecisive price action, difficult to get consistent, good take profits, stop losses, entries in those areas. If you're going to trade ranging markets, you want to be at the lows or at the highs, where you can get a solid stop loss and you maximize your risk reward as well. So if price does come back down, bounce at that level, it could be a nice buy. Not really what I'm interested in. If you do break the low, I'm interested. Let's find some pullbacks to ride that to the downside, possibly back to that low. So that's kind of what I'm eyeing up for pound Swiss. Not so keen on the price action in the middle. Fully peso. I don't know which market you're talking about there. Let me know which pair or market you're talking about. Good morning, Trey Byros. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. CAD CHF did have a really nice breakout. It's actually a pair which I'm looking at. To be honest, if I go to CAD CHF on the weekly chart, we had a really confident candle closure last week. Bit of a gap to the downside, but as you can see, we kind of broke out of all of this noise here, which is the key thing I wanted to see for a while, because we've been ranging for a few weeks now, and price is now finally committed to the upside. And what I'm looking at is possibly a swing back to the up end of this descending channel. So of course, you've got the lows there, you've got the highs there. Price is now showing momentum to the upside outside that range. So there's a good chance that we probably do continue back to the upper end of the range now. Maybe we break through, maybe we respect it. We'll find out when we get there. But for now, that is the trade idea. So if we do drop to the lower time frames, the 4-hour chart, we actually start to get a bit of an uptrend now. So I do like the possibility of a retest of the high here, which is at 0.6330. Possibly we might see the retest of the high here as well. I'm not as keen on that. I want a slightly deeper correction. If I do draw the fib from the last high to the last low, you can see I've got the 0.618 in that area, which is one of my preferred areas to buy from with the fib. So yeah, I'm looking for that slightly deeper correction there with CAD CHF, but I am looking for a higher low for a bigger push to the upside. The up end of the channel and the weekly chart is all the way up there. So there's a long way for us to go if we're going to fulfill, that possible bias, that direction. So there should be a lot of opportunities to take advantage of CAD CHF longs. But the first one I'm looking at is the retest of the high, pulling back into that 0.618 area. So hopefully you can get the pullback there. We've started off a little bit bearish this week, so maybe we do see that pullback. And I'll keep a close eye on 0.633 because that's where my focus lies. But overall, CAD CHF is a pair on the watch list. It does tick a lot of the boxes. Higher time frames look good. Strong breakout on the weekly chart. Strong close as well. Seeing some really nice bullish structure in the 4-hour chart. A lot of momentum in that last bullish candle there as well. Now, if you can get a nice corrective pullback, that'll tick another box. Don't want to see prices shoot straight down. That wouldn't be particularly great. But if you can fall correctively, that would be nice. That's the characteristic of a market that's likely to turn bullish again. And then, of course, a solid retest of that level with some nice entry signals. that would set up perfectly for my trade. And then we'll see what we can do with it, because I won't be targeting the high of the channel there, of course. But something like this, retest of that low, that could be somewhere to target, or at least maybe leave some positions to run to. So yeah, that is the plan for CAD CHF, but definitely a pair I'm looking at. I think you've been mentioning CAD CHF quite a lot as well, Ben. So I'd imagine it's a pair you're looking to trade to. Philip, what's up? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Hope you're well. Buy some Bitcoin. Ooh. Bitcoin's been doing its thing, hasn't it? I will take a look at Bitcoin and then I'll go through some of the crosses as well. Go through some more CHF pairs too. But yeah, Bitcoin didn't hit 100K. I was expecting to come back on stream on Monday talking about Bitcoin hitting 100K, but we didn't actually do that. Had a bit of retracement. But in fairness, if you did catch my weekly analysis this week, trying to mark 100K. If you did catch my weekly analysis this week, I did say we're probably going to get some retracement for Bitcoin. Main reason for that, look how close we were to 100K. So close. Wow. It's just because Bitcoin looks a bit tired now. If you look at this leg to the upside here, it's very corrective compared to this leg here, even compared to this leg here. Even that as well is pretty bullish too. Even that looked a little bit better too. So the market is a little bit more tired now of Bitcoin. So I do think even a deeper retracement than that move there is on the cards. Possibly push back to this area. On my weekly analysis, I did say a push back to the range here could be a thing, and we might use that to then continue. Because Bitcoin in its bullish, exponential runs, it doesn't continue forever in one path. It does have some correction, does have some bearish days. If you look at the last big bull run we had from 25K ish to 72K, we had a pretty big bearish move there, and it was just before the market became quite corrective. So as you can see, a lot of momentum. It was pretty corrective there. Momentum came out of nowhere, came pretty corrective again, had a bit of a bearish phase, and then we pushed on again. And if you look back at prior bullish cycles as well, we did have a pretty deep correction here too. Pretty deep one there too before we did top out. So corrections aren't rare for Bitcoin, even in the bullish runs that it has. So I have marked out that range area there as a possible area we might push into. But in terms of the bias, very bullish for Bitcoin. Very bullish for Bitcoin. Expecting 100K and higher prices, really. So yeah, because Bitcoin momentum is a key thing. We're starting to come a little bit dry. Might push down, collect some more buyers from somewhere, and then be on our way. But yeah, I expect 100K to be hit very soon, and we'll see what happens. In terms of where we could hit before we next pull back, I have no idea really. Could be 110, could be 120, could be 150. Yeah, so that's anyone's guess. But in terms of direction, I would be very bullish on it. Okay, fair enough. You're planning to stay away from the CHF pairs. I don't blame you. To be honest, they do take their time. Okay, in pound CAD. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Makes sense as well. If you're already trading CAD pair, you don't necessarily need to get into another CAD pair. Already tick that box of CAD. Now, I think we do have some CAD news as well this week. GDP for CAD, so yeah, don't need to overdo it. Hey, what's up, Lauda? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Tony Gold, what's up, my man? Okay, we'll take a look at NASDAQ, no problem. But yeah, that's kind of my outlook on Bitcoin. I'll go through NASDAQ now, and then I'll go through some of the crosses. Look at that, nice little gap. I think all the indices had pretty big gaps, didn't they? US 30, yeah. S&P, S&P had a pretty big gap as well. Yeah. So the indices look very bullish now at the moment. That's definitely something we can see. We've got the all-time highs over here, so possibly that's where the market's going to push to. Last week I was mentioning I wasn't quite convinced with the corrective nature of that move, so I wanted to see price, really break the high with some momentum, and then possibly you can speak about some retest of that high there on some pullbacks, and then we can look to follow that move to the upside. Oh, I'm just clicking the wrong tools at the moment, and then we can look to follow that momentum to the upside. So that's still kind of what I'm looking at. In terms of momentum, we had a gap there, so it's kind of a weird situation, because is that gap considered powerful momentum? Possibly, but nothing I would look at personally. I like to see my candles visibly and see strong candles pushing up. The fact that we gap to the upside tells me we probably will fill this at some point, and of course come back to retest the high here as well. So it depends. If you're looking at something intraday on the lower time frames, I think shorts is probably a decent bet, looking to go fill that gap. As for the buys, just because of the wicks and how choppy we are, it's difficult to gauge where we're going to sell off, buy from. But I think a sell back into that level makes a lot of sense. We expect price to come back for a retest, and of course, you expect price to go and fill that gap there too. So some downside for Nas looks pretty likely. But yeah, the buys are a little bit difficult, I would say. I mean, if it's come back into a low like this, I would like that back into some key lows. I think that would be a nice place for a buy, because it fits what structure is doing. We're corrective, but then we're back at the low end of the correction, so it makes sense. But yeah, if you're looking at opportunities now, I say shorts make the best bet. But yeah, I'm the biggest fan of the conditions. Ben, short dollar CAD as well, though, given that opportunity. Okay, so you don't really care too much about CAD then, it's just about the opportunity. But to be honest, at the end of the day, you are short pound CAD, so, and I'm pretty sure you probably break even on that opportunity as well. So if it was the pullback against you, I don't think you'd be looking to take a loss there in pound CAD, at the very least to break even, maybe a small win. So if CAD doesn't go your way, if you were to get to short dollar CAD, if it doesn't go your way, it shouldn't be a situation where you take a loss on dollar CAD and a loss on pound CAD. I mean, it would have to be a very big move for you to take a loss on pound CAD anyway, but the risk should be managed on the pound CAD position. Okay, yeah, you break even. So yeah, it would make sense. Lauder, I live in the UK, Lauder, so being cold in November isn't such a crazy thing. But to be honest, I'm not that cold. It's a very light jumper. So it does keep me warm though. Anyway, okay, you got longs, US30, NAS. Oh, okay, someone's been busy. NAS, US30, CHF, JPY, silver. Even though silver is having a snail movement, yeah. Silver has been moving sideways. Gold's been flying, but silver's just been taking its sweet time. Very annoying. But I'll go through some of the indices. We'll take a look at CHF, JPY as well. Sarah, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Okay, advice on a forex pair that is consistent. Well, that would be Euro USD. To be honest, Euro USD is your bread and butter. It's going to be probably the smoothest FX pair. Spreads very small. Not going to see too erratic behaviors. It does move. Of course, you just look at the past few weeks. It does have some movement, and it's a great pair to really focus on. Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie dollar were the pairs that I really focused on at the start of my trading journey. And Euro USD is a great pair to, if you really want to focus on one pair, I would say Euro. Yeah, it's not too fast, not too slow. It's a bit like Goldilocks. It's just right. So yeah, take a deep dive into Euro, and you got the best conditions there as well in terms of spread. It's not going to be a big deal on Euro USD. Anyway, we'll go through some of the indices. So yeah, NAS looks like we might retrace, but overall the market's still pretty bullish. US 30 is similar situation as well. Yeah, that's actually creating new highs. Wow, so that's been very bullish. When did you enter, Lauder, for US 30? I bet you are enjoying your longs in US 30. It's looking absolutely bullish as ever right now. And S&P, we had a quick look at that one as well, which is looking bullish. Hasn't quite made the new highs yet, but it's still pushing high. That gap would worry me a little bit. We might go and correct that gap before continuing, but this is a much better condition to long, to be fair, because the higher lows are a lot more prominent. So I wouldn't be as skeptical to look to long SP 500. I like the pullbacks for this one, and the highs are not too far away. So I would expect us to probably go and take out the highs and create new highs this week, to be honest. So yeah, S&P, US 30, again, looking at the higher time frames, they're all very bullish markets. So predominantly expecting more highs and more upside, really, especially if you're looking at swing trades. But yeah, it looks like S&P is probably going to join US 30 soon and create new highs too. In terms of CHF JPY, you're long as well. So yeah, CHF JPY has had a nice bounce as well. Someone else in the stream mentioned CHF JPY longs. I think their entry price was down here at 172.7. I'm not quite convinced on the long side of CHF JPY. In terms of the location to long, I think it's a nice place because we had the price stalled here for a few days before a really big bounce to the upside. So a lot of momentum came from there. And also you're retesting a nice high. We'll go to the daily chart quickly. Price is retesting a high here, which gave us a really strong move to the downside. Since then, price has broken through and now retesting that level as support. So I think in terms of the location, it makes a lot of sense. In terms of the market structure, because we have been seeing these lower lows and lower highs. So in terms of looking for buys, I would always be a little bit careful in the fact that the market could push up, form another lower high, and of course continue to sell. So I did say earlier, a place where looking to secure some partials or trade a stop, depends how you want to manage it. This area here, 174.2, would be an area which I would look to bank some partials just in case the market does put that lower high in and does continue down. There is the possibility that price is respecting this low, possibly for a continuation of that trend and maybe some new highs as well. But I would protect my trade against that sell there, because I wouldn't expect a big break like that to happen on its own. If it does happen, if news goes my way, great. But I wouldn't interpret that level as a level where price might possibly reject my level, project price and go against me. So I would watch out for that. But yeah, in terms of a place for buying, I think it's a great place for a buy. It's just as we approach 174, 174.5, I would be a little bit hesitant of those areas. Where's your targets for CHF JPY? Yes, Anton, pound USD is a major. I mean, UK 100 is probably one of the major indices, but it's not necessarily a major, because the majors are your currency majors in terms of the USD pairs. But UK 100 is a popular index as well. US 30, 43. Okay, are these your entries? 43,394. 43. Okay, so you were long ages ago then. Okay. I thought you maybe longed today, but you longed ages ago. 43,394. So you longed somewhere down here. Really nice trade there, Lord, and then sees a really nice trade. Okay, break even on US 30. Still waiting for NAS to push higher. Yeah, NAS is taking its sweet time, but probably still a lot more upside. I mean, if Nas is going to keep pushing, S&P is going to keep pushing to get back to their all-time highs, then probably US 30 is going to keep pushing as well. UK 100. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's a huge move to the upside. I was not expecting that at all. It did pump to the upside. I wonder why. But yeah, last week I was looking for some downside at this area, but you didn't really see much of a reaction. Looking for some rejection at this area, but all we got was a very strong close above that level, and price has not looked back since then. So yeah, now we have broken through that. I mean, we're back in the middle of the range, so things does look very awkward now. But the buys down here look like a nice setup again. I mean, after all we do have is pretty much a ranging market here. So now we're back in the middle of the range. I would stay away. But with UK 100s, eventually I do expect us to get back to the highs at 84.50. So yeah, I do expect that to be the bigger move. So the buys are a good bet on the retest of that level since we've broken back above. But yeah, still wouldn't be my preferred currency pair to trade. But yeah, really big move there on the UK 100. Did not respect that level at all. Just broke through very easily. Anyway, we'll go through some of the crosses which I have not looked at yet. And to be fair, not a lot of people are mentioning. So I suppose a lot of people looking to trade pound NZD, pound Aussie, euro NZD, euro pound, Aussie New Zealand dollar, those type of currency pairs. And they have been a bit choppy, to be honest. So I have not been too keen. Pound NZD, I do like a bullish setup on this one. Possibly some buys on the retest of this high here. This is where I'm looking for a higher low and a push up. Still nowhere near that area, so I'm patiently waiting on the sidelines for us to get there, but I do like that for a buy opportunity. At the moment, kind of slowly falling, but yeah, structure's just been so choppy, so I'm not looking to get involved at those prices. Euro NZD, this one I believe has been pretty bearish. It was, but we kind of spiked there. I do think we'll eventually come back into the low here at 1.745. Drop into the 4-hour chart. We've broken through some of these lows here. This is kind of the neckline of that head and shoulder pattern. So you got your left, you got your head, and you got your right shoulder there. If price can break through structure, that'd be very nice. Retest some highs there, aka your neckline of the pattern. That could be a really nice trade there. Not my preferred opportunity because we're kind of trading in the middle of a range, but it does look like price is topping out, forming a high there as well. Kind of like a bigger head and shoulder pattern, if you will, left head and the right shoulder. So I do think we can see a push back down to the low end of that range. And pretty sure Euro Aussie has already made a similar move. Nope, that's Euro USD. Euro Aussie. There we go. Yeah, so Euro Aussie had that head and shoulder pattern from last week. Left over there, head over there, right shoulder over there, neckline there. We've snapped through. Looks like we're coming back for the retest now. So yeah, with Euro NZD and Euro Aussie, I'm pretty bearish on both of them. I think Euro Aussie, if we can get a really strong break of the floor here, will actually be a pair that I start to look at because I do think we can start to trend to the downside now. And there could be some really nice opportunities to trade. I haven't been interested in trading this pair for a while, but it looks like we might be breaking through this low now. And if we can do that, I do think a bit of a bearish trend will fall. So break and retest, pullbacks will be some opportunities which I do start to look at. In terms of pound Aussie, again, not really a pair I'm interested in. I prefer pound NZD, so I think I'll just wait for that one. We have been pretty consistent with some of these higher lows. Maybe we're pushing another one now as we test the low here on the left. So it could be a bit of a bounce, but again, not interested. And I wouldn't be looking for anything much as well because we are failing at the highs here. Came back to test it, big rejection, failed to even come back to test the high there as well. So there definitely is some signs that the market is running out a bit of steam. So although it's a nice place for a buy, it might be temporary before we see a bigger drop there. So I would watch out for that. For pound Aussie. But yeah, some nice rejections on the lower time frames. I think you can get moved back into the low there. That'll be a nice trade to call it a day, or at least book some profits. If we do keep pushing, great. But if we do come back down, you're not exposed to potential loss. In terms of euro pound, yeah, euro. Ooh, okay, so we've had that bounce. So euro pound, I was talking about the breaking me tests of this low, which we had last week or the week before that, and we did have again this week or last week, minus that big wick there, which would have been a bit annoying. But it's been a nice test. Prices holding to that area. I said targets for this week, at least the push to the high. But I would watch out for a push back to resistance up here, because with euro pound, where we're trading in the monthly chart, there's always that possibility for a really big push to the upside. Massive monthly support, a lot of wick rejections here. If we are going to bounce and we are going to hold, then arguably we could be seeing something like that happen in the next following months. So trying to be a bit aggressive with the buys, I think is logical in this sense. I mean, at least the push there, I wouldn't say is aggressive, but push back to the highs there, you are leaving some money on the table. But it makes sense giving us where we're trading. If we're really going to hold into this level, I think a move to that level isn't so aggressive. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for euro pound as well. Aussie, New Zealand dollar. I think this was pretty bullish last week, wasn't it? Pretty strong move to the upside. Yeah, it's now failing at the highs though. So naturally, I think this is a nice place to look to short actually. Not a pair which I'm looking to trade myself, but I do expect to see some retracement, at least come back and retest the high. Whether we bounce and continue, that's a different story. But if it expands the weekly chart, look how corrective the market is, the conditions, I'm naturally expecting a move down. We have been pretty consistent with the higher lows though. Maybe we are getting ready for a big move higher up, but I'll believe it when I see it. When I see that big break, then I'll be looking for the opportunity, because how many times we've had some false breakouts with this pair, I don't have enough fingers on my hands to count that, to be honest. So if I see a big break, then I'll start talking about possibility of a breakout. But yeah, this is still very bearish territory, and an area which I do expect to see some downside from. In terms of the CAD pairs, so we looked at Aussie, we looked at New Zealand CAD briefly when I was mentioning the weakness of New Zealand against CAD. We had a really big push to the downside and a very strong close on the weekly chart, which that's the 11-week chart, which has now already set the tone for what I'm expecting the next following weeks, because we've broken through that area. Maybe not the biggest close in the world, but strong enough for me to be bearish bias, because I'm not convinced with this uptrend anyway. So it doesn't take much for me to be looking for the break of the trend line. And now we have seen the strong break of that trend line. I'm expecting us to push back into the low there at 0.79675. And the plan would be now for New Zealand CAD is to look for pullbacks on the way down, retest that low, find some entries at that area. Idea is to look to find the next lower high. I think there is some trendline confluence there. And then looking for the next drop, there is that low on the left, which would be a really nice target around 0.81198. And then possibly we might go a lot further than that. But that is the plan there for New Zealand CAD. And Aussie CAD, I'm looking at this pretty much the same plan. It just hasn't come into fruition yet. Price hasn't broke out of the low of the channel. So if I draw the trend line, can't see it. There we go. From the low connecting the dots, you can see we're just about testing the low end of that. It looks like price is trying to bounce, but it's lacking the momentum to do that. So again, what I want to see is a strong close to the downside. Be nice if we can get that this weekly on this weekly candle. Strong break below. Then that opens up the door to some shorts. And I'll be expecting a lot more downside. We've got the next major low down there. So if you see a strong break, looking for the retest, literally the same setup, and continuation. Continue for all those lower highs there. Maybe a setup similar to this. If this is a big fake out, come back, retest the trend line, next lower high, drop to the downside, and of course the lows there would be a target. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish with Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, of course Euro CAD and Pound CAD. Those guys already made some big moves there, so I do think it's time for them to pull back and see a bit of a breather. Yeah, but I do think they've got still more downside in the tank. It's just we probably might see some upside because they are due it. They've had some really bearish weeks last week. Market's very stretched, so we're naturally going to see some upside for them. But I do expect us to go and hit 1.745 for Pound CAD. It would be nice for a retest of 1.769. I'm not too sure if we see enough, if we'll have enough energy to get there per se, because that would be a nice place to short, but we might only push halfway before continuing. That's up to the market, but that would be a nice place to get involved. And personally, I think we can get to 1.73 really as targets for Pound CAD, but at least to that low there looks pretty good. In terms of the CHF pairs this week, I still do like my New Zealand CHF buys. That's still a market which I do like. However, it's just not playing ball at the moment. I'm looking to see if I can get some entries off the low here. It's been teasing the idea of coming back to retest that low, but hasn't quite done it yet. Yeah, so I still want to see a push down before the buy. Weekly chart is doing a pretty good job at holding on to this low here on the left. So we failed to get really a strong close below. We did see a nice close there, but momentum didn't continue. All we've seen is wicks afterwards. So if that can continue, even last week as well, nice wick to the downside. So I'm trying to catch the low end of those wicks, really similar to what I did with CAD-Gen. Catch the low end of the wicks there, so I can potentially capitalize on a big swing to the upside. Where we could be looking at a push back to the highs over there. Because looking at the higher time frames, if we are going to hold this low, we could see a really big bounce there for New Zealand CHF. So the buys look good. Just looking for a little bit more downside before I can get some entries. Hopefully you see a bit of a flash, move down, reject, and the buy. That is what I'm looking at this week for New Zealand CHF. And New Zealand CHF and CAD CHF, the only yen pairs which I do like. We looked at CAD CHF earlier. I do like Pound CHF if it does have the big breakout. It's just I'm waiting for it to happen before I get too excited about it, because I've been waiting for the big breakout since this bearish candle here, actually, which happened about 3 weeks ago. So it's been some time since I've been looking for the breakout. We've had another strong move to the downside. Didn't really amount to much. Maybe we push back up again. That's a possibility as well. But as I said earlier, Pound CHF, the idea with Pound CHF, we had a big drop in July. This looks to be the correction of that. So I'm naturally expecting another drop to the lows. But I need this floor to break first, and then I can look at some break and retest, some lower highs, and ride that momentum to the downside. So I need to be patient with that. And if we do get the break, who knows? Maybe we do get the sell. But the funny thing is, I'm looking to buy CAD CHF, looking for a lot of upside there. I'm looking to buy New Zealand CHF, looking for a lot of upside there as well. So judging from those two pairs on the CHF group, I'm pretty bullish on that. So I'm bullish on two CHF pairs, but then bearish on the other. So that tells me that we might not see the breakout. But we'll wait and see. If it does happen, great. If it doesn't, hopefully I can get some trades on the other CHF pairs. In terms of Aussie CHF, again, not really a pair I'm looking at. Neither really trading at areas I'm interested in. If you do get pushed back to the low here, yes, I think that could be a nice trade. Retesting that resistance where I shorted from probably a couple of months ago now. When was that? October. Actually, no, last month. And then if we can get a push back into this level here, that would be a great place to buy from. Which again, I'll look for entries as well. Similar trade to New Zealand CHF, back to a critical low, massive fake out below. Another test I do expect to buy. But right now where we're trading, I know it's a little bit of an area of resistance, but nothing significant. So nothing really there that fits the plan with Aussie CHF. So I would just wait for price to go and do its thing really. And if it does push up to this area this week, I will think about shorts, but really it's not the best setup. It doesn't tick my boxes as well as it did before. And I do have a few other pairs which I do really like, which do tick my plan well. But we'll see. Maybe we do get the setup this week. And then Euro CHF, not interested in that one at all, really. Really bearish last week. Big push down. Created new all-time lows, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, just about. If I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the weekly chart. So yeah, new all-time lows again last week. But we did wick back and we pulled back pretty aggressively as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if we go and fill the wick, to be honest. So yeah, Euro CHF, I wouldn't really look to do too much with this one as well. I wouldn't be looking to short just after new all-time lows. Not a good thing to do, really. So even though we're coming back to retest some nice structure here, which again, we may hold on to and sell from. After the market makes all-time lows or all-time highs, I tend to stay away, let the market breathe, and then I find opportunity afterwards because, especially in FX, after we create all-time highs or all-time lows, we tend to really reverse most of the time. Not necessarily reverse in trend, but at least have a bigger move or some type of counter trend that does form for a while because we don't tend to sustain the lows. I mean, just look last time. Last time we created all-time lows, prices have a massive push up. Last time we created all-time lows below here, massive push to the upside. And I'm pretty sure the last time we did that, was it this time or was it the time before? Anyway, you get the point. Every time we do make new all-time lows, the price does have some big moves up. So and we've already seen signs of that as well with this really strong reaction. And that might not be the end of it. We might still see price push up a little bit higher. So I'm not looking for short straight away after all-time lows. Yeah, that arguably is still the trend there if you're a CHF. Still very much the downside, but I'm going to wait for us to have a more complex pullback first before I start eyeing up any shorts again. And yeah, that's really where I'm at with the CHF pairs. I know a lot of people not the biggest fan of them, and I understand why they are choppy sometimes, but the idea is when you are trading patterns like myself, you're waiting for your patterns to present and you're waiting for quality patterns as well, because the market's unique. We create patterns in so many different time frames, so many different pairs, but some setups will be better than others. And the idea is to try and find the best ones possible and consistently trade those. And sometimes they will appear in CHF pairs and some of the crosses and some of the ugly pairs. And sometimes they do have really good opportunities, but because of the nature of the market, if you do get a trade in New Zealand CHF versus pound USD, for example, on average, the pound CHF, the New Zealand CHF trade is going to take a longer time to play out. It's going to be a bit more choppy. The risk of you getting wicked out on just a big wick is a lot higher as well than pound USD, because pound USD is a lot smoother. New Zealand CHF, Euro CHF, more erratic. You can see just a lot more wicks around here with these type of markets. So you have to factor that into your decision making. But besides from that, there are some nice moves. All we have to do is just look back at previous price action. There are some nice swings here. It's just we do chop around a lot more. And especially if you're swing trading, probably want to take in consideration the swap as well, because you could be sitting in some trades for a while, and the swap could build up. Although the swap isn't very big, the yen pairs, the swap can be pretty big with them. But yeah, at the moment, still currently sitting in CAD, Yen, and silver. CAD just kind of ranging at the moment in a little bit of profit, but I'm not looking to manage the trade until we get back to the low there. So really, there's not much for me to do until we push back into 109,400. Then hopefully we can break that low, and then hopefully I can start to trail and maybe start talking about 105, because that's really where I'm looking for price to go. This is just the first level where the buyers are sitting to try and take price against me. So I want to make sure I manage the position there. But if price does really respect that higher time frame level on the weekly chart, then I'm looking for a much bigger trade than a 1 to 2. If we can hold on to that, we can really soar. But I will secure some gains there to make sure I pay myself. And then, I'll trail along the way. And maybe if I'm lucky, I might find some opportunities to add to the trade. Then, of course, silver as well. This one I've been sitting in longer. This one I entered not last week, Thursday, but the Thursday before that. So it's been about a week and a half now. But it's been moving okay. It's just a bit sideways now. I'm looking for more upside on gold. So I'm kind of banking on gold pushing to the upside. It's looking quite bullish this morning as well, actually. So, I'm kind of hoping that will rub off on silvers. Hasn't really done too much in the beginning, but we'll see. Hopefully we can hold on to that. And I'm looking for a breakout of this range into the high there at 32. But go to the daily chart, you can see it's a very, very pivotal level in the market. Solid resistance taken across over there. Was pretty solid resistance over here as well. So now I'm looking to see if we can do the same thing again. Maybe we sell off, maybe we break through. In fact, because gold is a bit strong now and it looks like gold might get back to all-time highs, I was originally planning to close the remaining of my positions here. I think I'll leave a little bit to run. It won't be much, just be a little bit to run. Because if gold's going to get back to all-time highs, there's a good chance silver's going to push back to those highs as well. So leaving some on could be a smart move. But we'll see. There's no other market which I'm looking to enter in just yet. Like I said, USD pairs, I don't really have a solid bias this week for them. So I'm going to play a little bit cautious with them until I can get some more of my questions answered on the DXY. Whether the trend is still very much alive and kicking, or is it time for us to see a bit of a breather? I need a bit more price action before I can solidify that. So I'm not so eager to trade the USD pairs this week until I get a bit more information. So yen pairs is kind of where it's at. And because I'm already trading CAD yen, I don't need to jump into anything else. Like I said, CHF pairs look good. So I'll keep an eye on CAD CHF. But that's not retrading near my level, which is this area here. Still a while away. And New Zealand CHF still not quite near my level there, but maybe I do get some opportunities on those pairs this week. Anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, saying hi. If you have enjoyed the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat, and also in the description below, you can join discussions with myself, other traders about different trading opportunities, find out more about Elevating Traders, the firm as well. And of course, you can find a discount code there as well for your next Elevating Traders Challenge purchase. So check that out if you haven't done so already. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll be live again tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you there.